Morning, everybody. So God gave me something interesting today to bring to you all, and it's not like what I normally have. It was different than just Him speaking to me on the porch, but this is becoming more and more normal. If you've been spending time with God, you know God speaks to you in different ways. Sometimes He speaks to you through different people. Sometimes He speaks to you through experiences. Sometimes He speaks to you through, one of the things I think we discount is dreams. I don't think we look out for those things like we should. I don't think we watch for those things. And because we don't watch for those things, sometimes we miss them. Sometimes we don't equate them to God trying to tell us something. And if you know me, you know I'm... until this year, I really haven't been a big dreamer. But one dream that has always kind of followed me through life is this dream that Helen would leave me. And I've been married 17 years. This dream that keeps reoccurring, I have a hard time believing that it is just a simple dream if I keep having it. And about 6 months ago, God shed light on why He kept giving me this dream. And I think the reason I've recently been having it over and over again is because I've been needing to share this with you. Because it's really important. It gets pretty deep into what is our relationship with God supposed to be like? In Matthew chapter 12, verse 39, Jesus was speaking to a crowd, and the crowd was looking for Him to give a sign of who He was. And Jesus says, "A wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah." Should study the prophet Jonah and what he's saying there. But what's interesting is he calls that generation a wicked and adulterous generation. If you are really deciding that Jesus Christ is Lord, you can't put one foot in, one foot out. When I say that, you can try to do that. Actually, you can operate for years doing it. But in truth, have you really made Him Lord yet if you still got one foot outside the pool? If you're only dangling that one foot in the pool. That's what I hope I can eventually work my life into a relationship that everything belongs to Him, all of it. It doesn't matter what it is, what time of day, where I'm at. Everything works into being under the submission of Christ. And so, while I go through, it's kind of tough. Every night I'll go through, for like a week now, I'll go through the feelings of my wife leaving me. I'll go through the feelings of what happens when the person that you expect to be with you forever walks away. Even though I've never gone through that personally. I know plenty of people who have. Praise God, I've never had to go through it. But the pain is immense. I mean, it's as if a literal piece of your soul is being ripped apart. This morning in this dream, I hit my knees and I begged her to think twice about leaving me, and I remember it vividly, and so I realized that the pain and the anguish that I was going through in that dream is actually the pain and the anguish that we put God through when we try to have one foot in and one foot out. There's scriptures that talk about having one foot in and one foot out. There's all kinds of places in the Bible where God talks about his passion and his love for us. And he even allows certain people to go through periods of time where their wives or their spouses are adulterous to them, and instead of God saying, okay, leave them, God keeps telling them, go back and get them and bring them back and forgive them. The only reason I can see why God would put someone through that is to show his pain, to show what it's like to be in God's position. You know that you should spend time with God on a more, you know what's funny? It's not that you should spend time, it's that you should love to spend time with him. But instead you choose to look at the TV, or instead you choose to do something else. In fact, you fill your whole day with doing something else, and it becomes such a big deal because you're continually filling your life with something else. And how does that feel for a God who just wants to spend time with you, a God who wants to it's like having a father that wants to sit out on the front porch with you and just hang out. If I asked my son, hey, why don't you come hang out with me on the front porch and let's just talk? If my son was like, no, I've got better things to do, I've got other things to do, I want to, but right now it's not a good time. And he did it over and over and over again. Eventually, as a father, I'd come to the realization, my son really doesn't want to spend time with me. He's got things that he finds more interesting. And praise God, I don't have that problem either, but the amount of pain that it would cause to what God really wants us to experience in him, for him to feel us push him away and pull everything else in besides him, it's got to hurt. And I don't mean hurt in a small way. I mean hurt like a part of your soul is being ripped apart. But it happens to him all the time. It happens to him with all of us, and all of us treat him that way. And what's so funny is that people don't realize how much God has bent over backwards. God will allow us to walk away, and God will allow us to make our mistakes, and he'll still be standing there waiting for us to come back. He'll even allow us to go and serve other gods, but he'll still be standing there waiting for us to return. And at some point, there is a breaking point with that as well. But that's one of the things that amazes me about God, is that this relationship that I'm talking about having with him is not just some small relationship where you just kind of you visit him every now and again. It's not some relationship where it's, hey, I talked to him today and it's over, and I spent 5 minutes in prayer and I've done my deed, or I've helped someone buy lunch, or whatever it is that you're currently doing that you think is enough, but you know full well it's not the amount of time that he really wants to spend with you. Think about that. Think about, are you really loving him in the way that he deserves? Are you loving him with all that you are, and are you giving him everything that you have? Is it real, or is it just something you talk about on occasion? Is it real? Do you hear his voice, and do you speak to him? Do you listen to him as well as talk at him? Are you only requesting a list of things, or have you brought your life to him? Have you knelt down at the cross and said, this is yours now? I can't do this on my own. The reason I bring this up is because for me, I still have things I have to pluck out of my life and give to him. Things that I've got to turn over. And it's not because I have to. It's because I want to. It's because I want to come to Him and Him to know that I want to be there. I want Him to feel that I love Him back. I don't want Him to feel those feelings that I feel when I have those dreams of, it's just so painful. It's so hurtful. I never want Him to feel that way. And I think that if you really sat down and thought about your relationship with the Father, if you've really sat down and thought about your relationship with Christ, have you focused on that? Have you been adulterous? Is something else or someone else more important than God? Because if so, you got to flip it around. Because when He becomes the most important thing, when He is the love and passion of your life, your marriage will work out. Especially if your spouse turns to Him too. But it's not just your marriage. Your relationships will work out. Your life will work out in a way that you don't expect it to. And I don't mean it'll all be hunky-dory. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, when you've got Him first, nothing else can get that deep. When you've got Him first, no matter the loss, no matter what you go through, He will be there. And He will make what you see at the time have the right perspective. I could go on and on about this, but I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to the passion you have for God. Are you in love with Him? Are you passionately seeking Him? I know for me, I'm trying to become more of a son who desires and shows that desire to sit with my Father and listen to Him. Today, as you go through your walk and as you go through your life, I would recommend you ask yourself, are you being adulterous? Are you passionately in love with God? And is it real? Is your love for God real? That's what God gave me today. Thanks, guys.